Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It means the world. Thank you so very much. And today, we welcome along one of my favorite actors of all time, the brilliant Ray Fearon. Is that right? Fearon?
Fearon, yeah, yeah.
Fearon, yeah. Just a common theme on
Not
here.
the brilliant though, not the brilliant. But I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
No, no, mate, you deserve it, man. You deserve it. So let's take a moment to introduce Ray and his work. So Ray trained at Rose Bruford and has been a part of some of the best things across stage and screen since. His credits include for film, Hamilton, Beauty and the Beast, Hamlet, directed by Sir Ken Branagh, Summer in Cape Town, and a little film you might be aware of, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. For TV, Red Dwarf, Death in Paradise, Shakespeare and Hathaway, Silent Witness, and His Dark Materials. And for theatre, countless shows with the RSC, including Pericles, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, Troilus and Cressida, Merchant of Venice, Macbeth at the Globe, The Guys and Dolls, and The Firm at the Hampstead, and one in particular, which we're going to talk about a lot today, also with the RSC, Julius Caesar, the 2012 production where he played Mark Antony in the African adaptation of the play, directed by Gregory Doran, and is now available on Globe Player and DVD, and it was filmed across both stage and screen, a sort of innovative way of looking at the play itself, but nevertheless, it makes it all brilliant itself. And that's just a small sample of Ray's work. I could go on, but anyway, Ray, welcome.
Thank you for asking me, Oliver. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you for saying yes, man. It means a lot. Thank you. And so we start at the beginning. So in your case, man, where did it come from? The love of acting, being in this business, where did it come from?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I lived in. I'm from London, and right about where I was born, on the Stonebridge estate, there wasn't really a lot for us to do, and we started a thing called the Harsden People's Community Council, which basically we formed like a committee, and then went to like the youth theatres in the Stonebridge area, and basically tried to get them to put on classes that really were gonna, classes for us to be in,
Yeah.
So we wanted to do, people wanted to do weights there, we wanted a gym. There was none of that kind of stuff around there. We wanted a gym. We wanted to try and do some business courses, you know what I mean? There was just quite a lot of activities that people wanted to do in there, and there was no facilities to do it. The facilities were there, but they weren't doing none of that stuff. It was like, it was like a youth theatre and, not youth theatre, sorry, like a youth centre. They used to have these youth centres which you can go in and play table tennis and bar football. But we wanted to do some other more constructive stuff. And so we formed this committee, and the council, decided to basically put on the classes that we wanted. And drama was one of them. Dance was another.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we started some drama classes in this little community centre on the Stonebridge estate, and that's where I started. It started from there. I started to do workshops there. Me and my brother. It was my brother actually that started it, and he wrote me in. And we were about 15, 16. I was 15. He was a year older than me, and he just said to me, because he was the one that actually wanted to become an actor. And I mean, I did little bits and pieces at school, and and then I thought I'll come along to some of that. But then realized that actually I liked it, So I just started to do the workshops, and then, we started to put on like performances and things, just small things of plays, and we toured them around the borough, to other youth theatres. Me and my brother joined a couple of youth theatres, Tricycle Youth Theatre, and then I joined a Royal Court Youth Theatre, and it just started from there really. And then we did some plays. We formed a theatre company, on the, in Stonebridge, with that same community, Harsden People's Community Council. And we formed a theatre company called Theatre Troupe, and we got some money from Great Leisure Services. And what we used to do was we'll get a director. Director would come in, pay a director and stage management to come in, and we'll put plays on. we'll put on the plays, and we'll tour around different boroughs, and we'll go to youth centres, like say for instance in the borough of Kensington, they had a few youth theatres down there. Leisure services used to give them money to put on, events, plays, and we'd come there and we got this play. And I go, what's it about? And we'll go, well, it's about this is about a Caribbean family and blah, 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 blah. And they go, right, tell you what, we've got enough money for you to play for 2 days. And we'll go, fantastic. And we'll come in and we'll load up the van, we'll get the lights and everything together, and we'll come in and we'll set up and we do the show. Audiences will come from that area.
Yeah.
Watch the show. At the end of the show, we'll pack up everything and put it in the van. You know what I mean? If it was 2 shows, we'll leave it up until we finish, pack it all in the van, and then drive on to the next venue, leave the van at the next venue, and go home. Yeah. And that's what we did. Yeah. And that's how I sort of got into it. And then from there, I decided that I just wanted to take it seriously. I wanted to go to drama school. So, I decided to go to drama school, went off to drama school. And no, I was at the City Lit, went to a City Lit for about 2 years. And then went off to drama school. I mean, the lucky for me back then, you didn't need grants, and I didn't have to pay for those courses.
Yeah,
they had a thing called what was it? Ken Livingston used to run it.
Dada or something like that.
No, it was it will come back to me, but it was an organization. They used to finance sports and arts.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those courses that I went on and done, like the City Lit and stuff, they had, if you was a certain age, you can go in there and do it for free. So I went in and did like voice classes, acting class, everything for free. And then I went to drama school, and back then it was a mandatory award, so you can, the government will pay for the degree, and I had to, apply for a grant from my borough, and so it was a lot easier than it is today. And that's really, that was my journey into the whole thing.
Yeah,
Hadn't done any Shakespeare.
Yeah,
hadn't done any Shakespeare, but the irony of this was, when I was talking about them workshops on the estate.
Yeah,
the road, what it was called was Shakespeare's Crescent.
There you go. There you go.
Crescent. And it was a front line. It was a front line on the Stonebridge estate, and it was called Shakespeare Crescent. That's where I hung out. Yep.
That's the universe trying to tell you something, man.
Isn't it? Yeah. So you can either do this or you can do Shakespeare.
Of course.
On Shakespeare Crescent, or you can go and do Shakespeare at the Royal Shakespeare
Company. Yeah, and he done a lot of the Royal Shakespeare.
That's what the universe is telling me. That's what happened.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah. So you mentioned your drama school, and you mentioned you went to Rose Bruford in the intro. Yeah. How was your time there?
I had a great time. And it was the only drama school that I auditioned for. It was the only one I wanted to go to because of where it was. It was sort of bang smack in the middle of it was like a nature park, and it was just great with lakes and everything. And they were the only drama school that was actually doing a degree. For all the others were diplomas, and it meant that I had to go and write off to trusts and things to get the money to pay for the course. And I just thought, if I go and do a degree, it's easier for me to get, because as I said, the government was paying for, if you went and studied a degree, they'll pay the fee. So I just thought it's going to make it easier if I just went and did a degree. But I went up there and I auditioned, and then I thought, you know what, this is the only one I'm going to go for. After this, I think I would have got into Bristol or Vic if I didn't get in there. I just wanted to be out of London as well, because I found London a massive distraction. It was distraction. It was home, and I just wanted to be. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to move out from home, and I just wanted to be independent. Try and see if I can find myself, just to find out who I was, and I'm, so it wasn't just for the acting. It was for other personal reasons as well why I made that choice. But that was a choice I made, and it was,
Mm.
I specifically did it for that. And I
Mm.
didn't audition for RADA or, I did like Drama Center. People were saying, "Why don't I come to Drama Center?" I remember Mario Jean-Baptiste saying to me, "I should have come to RADA and stuff." And to be honest with you, would have, because I look back and I think, why didn't I go and audition for RADA? But that was one of the main reasons, was to come out of London.
Mm.
I wanted to study out of London. As I said, I had a big family. I didn't want them distracting me. I didn't want to be at home doing this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
wanted to I wanted to try and find out who I was. And
yeah,
I thought that was the best way to do it.
yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
why I went.
Yeah.
Because even the drama school in my third year, the head of acting, I remember, one of them came up to me, and it was the end of my third year and I was leaving. And she said to me, "I always wanted to ask you, why did you come here? Because the first day that you auditioned, we thought we were going to lose you." She thought, he's definitely going to RADA or one of those other drama schools.
Mm.
And I said, "No." She said, "Why did you?" And I said, I just like this place, and I wanted to be out of London and stuff, but I just liked this place.
Yeah.
When I came, and I fell in love with the surroundings, and I just, you know what I mean? I wanted to be here. But yeah, she thought I was gonna, she said I was just shocked and why you came here and
Yeah.
you didn't go to Guildhall, but there we are.
It's
But
high
I'm glad
praise.
I went. I'm the president of Rose Bruford now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've become the president of the drama school too. So
Amazing.
yeah, I'm in my second year of my presidency.
Yeah.
And that was great. That was great to sort of go back and, and then sort of to be helping the students too. It's a different college now, it's different courses, it's a bigger place. The facilities are just, they're first class rehearsal rooms. They have about 3 theaters. It's a completely different place,
Mhm.
but it's a different time. It's a different time, and the training is different from when I went. And yeah, it's glad to still be a part of it. And I like to give back to students and, just to still be in it for them, you
Mm.
know. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Little did you
But
know.
I enjoyed my time. I didn't miss a class in 3 years. I was never late in 3 years. Yeah, I put the work in. I did the work,
Mm.
and and came out pretty well.
Yeah. Little did you know on the first day you think, yeah, I'm gonna be president of this place one day.
But I never thought that. I never thought that. But these things happen. To be honest with you, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to have a career in it. You don't know, if you're going to be successful, because loads of people weren't.
Mm.
Lots of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
in my year weren't, and it's a tough business when you get out there. It's
It is.
it's not just all about your talent and it's about hard work, but also it's to some element of luck.
Mm. Yeah. But you know,
Luck. Yeah, you got to be lucky as well, to actually get the opportunity. But you got to be ready for the opportunity. You know, it's one of them things. But touch wood, everything worked out fine.
yeah. And just keep believing and keep trusting more than anything, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, then that's high praise as well. That the one of your tutors on the first day saying, oh, yeah, sorry, on your last day saying, after the first day, I'm thinking, are we gonna lose this guy? Because are we gonna lose him to
Yeah, they
RADA or
definitely
to?
thought he's not coming here. He's going to go to one of the other ones. And
That's high
she said
praise,
when
man.
he came, I
High
was
praise.
very, but I just wanted to ask you. And I thought, for all these years, she said, I just want to ask you, why did you come here? And I thought, yeah, it was a great compliment. And
Yeah.
the other thing was, which was, because I wanted to complete the studies, and I got a job. I think it was in my last term.
Mm.
I was playing two leads in the last two plays, in the end of term plays, and I've got a job for the Oxford Stage Company doing playing Ferdinand in The Tempest, and it was a tour, and they were going to Japan. And I remember one of the guys, one of the heads come, and he said, "Ray, we can't release you. because we need you in the other plays. And I was like, okay, fair enough. I'll not do the job. And then
Mm.
the head of acting, he was away for, I think he was away for a week, and he came back and heard,
Mm.
and he called me in his office and he said, Ray, you got to do that job. You got to leave. There's nothing for you to do around here. And I was like, right, okay. He said, anyway, I've rung up the director. The party's still there. And I said, what do you think? And he said, I think you should do it. He said, I think you should do it. So I did one play. You know, I played a lead in one play, and then the other play, they passed the lead to the support lead that was in it. And everybody was all right with the parts. And so I dropped out of that play and left like 6, 7, I think it was about 7 weeks early. I went off and started to rehearse, and you know, and that was that. But yeah,
Yeah.
even you know, so I got a job, and you know, normally people send off or write off to agents. I hadn't even got to that yet. Do you know what I mean? They've got a thing called the Carlton Hobbs Radio Award, BBC Radio Awards for
Mm.
all the drama schools compete against each other, and I was part of our college's team. And I was doing my, you know, you have individual stuff and then you have a team thing. And I'd gone in and done the individual stuff. And the judges, when you go into like the BBC radio studios, you have a mirrored glass, so you can't see what's behind the glass.
Mm.
Normally, that's where the controllers are, the directors are doing all. Do you know what I mean? So when you're doing radio, all you just see is a mirror, and there's mics. But there was a woman that was on that panel, and she saw me do. I think I can't remember the pieces that I did. I did Othello, and I did something else, and I think it was Othello. And she saw me, and I'm interested in him. Anyway, I got a phone call just out of the blue,
Yeah.
and it was a big agent. It's still my agent today,
Yeah.
and said this agent is really interested in coming to see you and seeing what. Anyway, she came and saw me in the end of year play before I'd done, and then I went and saw them, and they took me on, and all of that happened within like a week, and I was like,
Happens,
oh,
man.
so now I've got an agent, I've got a job which the agent didn't get. I'm leaving, and that was that, all done and dusted,
Yeah.
and it just all happened, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, I was very grateful, and none of it was planned. As I said, you have no idea I was going to go, and that just happened, you know. You know, loads of people were sending off pictures to agents because, you know, your third year is your final year, and I thought I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to try and see if I can finish the course first,
Mm.
and then try and do that later on. But I didn't have to. It all happened.
Yeah.
As I said, the luck was I was on that I got chosen to be on that team
Yeah.
to do to compete in the Carlton Hobbs, and then basically the head of the agent, Pippa Markham, was the judge. She saw me, decided I'm going to see him. She brought her and her second and right hand person to see the show at the Sadler's Wells. Saw me in it and decided, no, I'm going to take him. Went and saw. You know, I remember going in her office and seeing the people that was on her wall. You know what I mean? It was like Mark Rylance and Bill
Oh,
Nye and Pete Postlethwaite and you name it. And Julius Stevenson and everything. And I was like, all the actors who I just thought, wow, and they were all with her.
yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to be here then.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm still there.
you're still there,
Pippa's
man.
retired. Pippa retired, but yeah, I'm still with the same agent.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about it, man. I mean, there's probably someone listening to this going, "You bastard."
Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of people that did that too. But that ain't none of my business.
No, man, enjoy it. Enjoy it. You deserve it, man. But I suppose really, so just before we move on to Julius Caesar, but I suppose one question I always like asking people about their drama school experience is like the difference between day one and the last day. So, what was it like for you compared to Ray on day one of Rose Bruford to the last day? What was the biggest difference, do you think?
Well, I think they because I was ready for it. I really wanted to go. It didn't take me by surprise, or I didn't, you know what I mean? It didn't take me, like for some people, I'd gone through the first year and then settled in the college or decided, oh, wow. From day one, I took it serious. I knew I was there. I knew I came here to learn.
Yeah.
And, so for me, day one was no different from the last day, which was great. You know what I mean? I came there to learn. I came there to take whatever it was I was going to take and leave. And that was my intention. That was the objective that I had in there. But I suppose from there I learned a lot more. I think on day one I was quite a bit sort of individual. It was much more about me, and do you know what I mean? About what I'm doing and the pieces that I'm doing and how I'm acting. Whereas when I left, it was much more about ensemble. It was much more about a group, which is basically what theatre is, and acting is. It's about a group of people, and you have to be a part of that. So I suppose that was the difference.
Yeah.
Is that I'd learned to be a part of a group of people. Even though you're an individual in it, you still have to be a part of
a company.
And that's what the whole of our business is about, really. It's about being a part of a company.
Yeah.
Whether you're a lead, you have to lead a company, or but you are a part of a company and an ensemble that everybody plays a role in. And without them, you don't. It can't happen.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how great an actor you are. Do you know what I mean? You can't play a fellow on your own.
No. You
have a group of people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did learn that. And over the, I remember some of the teachers actually saying that it is an ensemble. You've got to be part of an ensemble. It's, and now, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's in a group or how the dynamics are. You've got to find a way of how to get on and how to make this work as a group of people. It's and so it's you make friends very quickly, or you got to see different sides of how somebody else sees it. It's very diverse and very what's the word? Very liberal. You've got to be, theatre companies are very liberal. You've got to see how someone else sees whatever it is that they see and try and understand that. Even though it might be a load of garbage.
Yeah.
But in terms of your opinion, if that's what you think it is, you've got to hold back and see whatever it is and try and make it work for them as well as making it work for yourself. It's just,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yes, like the company makes the show more than anything, and
absolutely. When you join a Royal Shakespeare company, you join a company. It's not, if you went to the National or wherever, whatever theatre company it is, it's a company of actors, and it's the company. People. It's like I remember somebody saying, was it Michael Attenborough saying, people started to talk about the RSC. We were doing Romeo and Juliet, and I remember some people kept going, the RSC, but the RSC didn't. And he said, look, you are the RSC. The RSC is the present company now, which is you.
Yeah.
So don't keep thinking it's some organization outside of you are it. It's not like FIFA. Or do you know what I mean? That runs, and then there's, do you know what I mean? You're the RSC. The RSC is, you are the company.
Yeah.
That present company is whoever it, so yeah, it's really important.
Yeah.
That you understand that.
Yeah. And you're part of it now. You are the RSC now. You are representing us as well as
exactly.
yourself.
That's what it is. The present company is, they are the RSC. It's
they're an extension. You're an extension of them in that moment.
Exactly. Exactly.
Indeed, man. And of course, speaking of the RSC, there's one job in particular which we're going to talk about today, which is, of course, your role as Mark Antony in Julius Caesar, and the 2012 production, which I've talked about on here before. I've given you quite a few shout outs on here, particularly your Dogs of War speech, which we'll get on to in just a second. But yeah, so this production was commissioned in 2012 by the still current artistic director, Gregory Doran. And he.
No, he's not the artistic director now.
Oh, is he not?
No.
Oh, you not? Okay, I'll get my facts
Yeah,
checked.
no, he's left a couple of years. It's run by Tamara Harvey and God, what's his name? Evans.
Daniel Evans.
Daniel.
Yes.
Daniel will kill me for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry,
it's run
both.
by them, and it's they're doing a great job.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
actually going to go and see the Cherry Orchard next week with
Mm.
Kenneth Branagh and Helen Hunt and God, there's another American actor in it. I've worked with him before. I can't remember his name. But yeah, they're doing the Cherry Orchard next week. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job. This company's changed. It's yeah, Greg left. Greg left a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Sorry,
Um,
sorry, Tamara. Sorry, Daniel. Got my facts wrong
it's all right.
there.
No, it's all right. So,
Don't kill
but
me.
Greg did a good job. Greg did a good job with it.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like he really did. But when he was there, at the time in 2012, he commissioned a huge series from the RSC to in parallel with the Olympics that was on in London at the
Yeah,
time. And he put, I
yeah,
remember we saw the Much Ado About Nothing that was set in India. You had you guys, Julius is set in Africa,
yeah,
a few other places. But I suppose really to start with, and I'll just say this now, and I'm sure I'll mention this later, but this is one of the best theatre shows I have ever seen. Albeit I saw it via the DVD, but
yeah,
you've still got an essence of what it was like to be in Stratford, or I know you did it at the Noel Coward Theatre in the West End for a little run as well.
yeah,
This, on essence, I remember Gregory talked about this as well. This is Shakespeare's, as he calls it, African play
yeah,
because it's been documented and famously so that Nelson Mandela, when he was in jail, when he was imprisoned, his prison didn't allow works of literature into the prison, but someone he knew snuck in the full works of Shakespeare disguised as a
yeah,
religious text. I can't remember which one, but so they passed it off through there, and security were like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then he read the whole of the Shakespeare while in prison. And this one has been reported as his favorite, and he's a big admirer of the line, "Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste death but once."
yeah.
And I mean, what a line, Shakespeare. Jesus, man, I love him so.
Oh, God, it's fantastic. Well, apparently the book got passed around between the actual prisoners, and they were marking what play and what lines they liked best. And Julius Caesar was the one that came out more than anything else. That was, and then John Carney, who's very good friends with the late Tony Sher, with
Anthony
Greg
Shea.
Doran's partner, Anthony
Yeah.
Sher.
Hmm.
He turned around and got hold of it. He said, "Didn't you know Julius Caesar is Shakespeare's African play?" And the whole Greg started to get the ball rolling of, God, I think I could do this play. And then they found out that there was that I think that Shakespeare, that complete works that Melton and Mandela had signed, I think it came to the, God, what's the museum in London? I think the Victoria Museum yeah, they got hold of it. They got
Yeah,
hold of that copy.
really.
Yeah, and that was the reason why Greg decided that he wanted to do this play and he wanted to set it in Africa. I think they went and saw it in yeah, it was on display. It was in one of the museums, and
Mm.
that quote was in it. Cowards die many times, but valiant never dies but once. And that was the quote that Mandela had put, and he thought, well, actually, do you know what? I think I'm going to set this play. And then, obviously, the Arab Springs was happening.
Hmm.
What had happened in Egypt and I think Lebanon happened after that. It was basically, you know what I mean? It was about when you get rid of leaders or so-called dictators. You know, once you get rid of them, what do you put in its place?
Yeah, it's like what now? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Caesar is.
Yeah.
And I'd seen that play about. I mean, when you've been at the RSC, because I was at the RSC for years, and doing seasons, and I saw a couple of them, and I didn't really understand the play. I mean, I got it. Yeah, it's a war play, and it's about between the, Romans um, and then I kind of understood some of it, but I didn't really get it.
Mm.
And then the minute he said that, and I, before I decided to do it, they did a symposium.
Mm.
Greg asked me to be part of a symposium, and I thought, right, he said it's happening down at the rehearsal rooms, at RSC rehearsal rooms. You come and just do Mark Antony for us. And I thought, right, fair enough. I'll come and do the symposium. And when
Yeah.
we got there, I saw Paxton Joseph and a few other people that were there, who played
Yeah.
Brutus and stuff. And I was like, hang on, wait a minute. This is and Lucian Massamata was he
Oh,
read for Lucian was Cassius.
wow.
So we all read, quite a lot of a couple of other actors as well. That was, we all read, and then Greg said, "Look, the reason why we're doing this is because, I was thinking of, doing this play. This and that. And he told us about Nelson Mandela experience and all that, and what, and the fact we did this whole symposium and about setting this play. When he said about setting it in Africa, because I
Mm.
said I don't really." I mean, I just thought I've got no enthusiasm to want to do a Julius Caesar. I just didn't. This is why I've been at the RSC for years and stuff, and I just thought I want to do Caesar, unless they're going to do it differently. And then he said that how he was going to do it, and I thought, hang on. So we read the play, and then the play made sense to me once we put it in a context of this was Africa, and I knew what was happening in the world at the time, the political climate at the time, and I thought, wow, this works.
Mm.
This works.
Boy, did it work. Boy, did it work.
Anyway, Greg sort of he left it at that, and we didn't know whether they were going to do it or not. You know what I mean? Because actually, Greg wasn't the artistic director then. It was the late Michael Boyd.
Oh,
Michael Boyd was still the artistic director, and it was Michael Boyd that commissioned all of those plays. The Asian. Was it? What did they do? They did. Did they do Midsummer Night's Dream on?
I don't remember, but I know they did.
Or was it As You Like It? I can't remember which one it was.
I don't know.
But it was good.
So there's a lot of different plays.
Yeah, but it was Michael Boyd,
Michael Boyd.
and whilst we were doing Caesar, Michael Boyd had his director tenureship was up, and Greg was put forward for the job, and he got the job whilst we were doing Caesar.
Wow.
He got announced as artistic director whilst we were doing Caesar. So, but Michael Boyd, who's not with us now,
Mm.
he had been an artistic director for the past 10 years. And that was his 10th year, I think. Because he was the one that oversaw the whole new building and, the knocking down of the old RST, when they moved into the Courtyard Theatre. It was all under Michael Boyd's directorship.
Mm.
And then the Olympics. Yeah, he was done for the Olympics. And yeah, I didn't really have any intentions of doing it until Greg then rung me up, about a month later and said, look, we're going to do this play, and we're going to do it. And this was like a year before.
Mm.
So he then said, we're going to do it, and I really would love you to play Mark Antony. And I was like, man, it's too far in advance. Is it too far in advance? And I was there toying with the idea and thinking, I said, let me think about it. And then I said, who's playing? I said, is Patterson doing it? And he said, well, I'll approach Patterson. And then he approached Patterson. Well, Patterson said, he'll do it if you do it. I've got on the Patterson. I was like, all right, let's go for it.
Mm.
And that's really, yeah. And then it started from there. But
Mm.
yeah, you'd asked Patterson, and they asked me to play that. And then I think Lucian, something Lucy's father, I think, had passed away, and I think it just took up. He decided that he didn't want to do it, so then he recast. He then decided to cast Cyril. So Cyril then took that part, and yeah, and then and that was it really. He cast some of the youngsters that were at the reading didn't do the play, so he casted those parts, and that's how it started. And then we started rehearsals. I think it was something like April, March, May, or maybe June, May.
Yeah.
May of 2012.
Yeah.
April or May of 2012. But we were asked I think me and Patterson was asked in August, September of 2011.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, and then we decided, right, but it made sense to me. All of a sudden, the play made sense, and I thought, wow, this is something. It just became a great idea, and it was great. It was great. It was great being in an all-black cast at the RSC. I've never been in one, and that was only because the play was set in Africa. So we had African, musicians and
they were beautiful, by the way.
live. They were fantastic. I mean, it was
So
just
beautiful.
It was an event.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, and just obviously I watched it through, like I said, the DVD, but you still got the sense of what it would be like in the room. And I remember just that opening scene. You've got the music, you've got all this huge cultural differences. You come to Stratford, it's like middle class London or middle class England. And then suddenly you're in this world of another continent and another vibe, and you're just thinking, wow, this is just incredible. And I have to say, Caesar's entrance, was beautiful to watch. And
it was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was fantastic. But also as well, what people don't understand was they said that we were going to film it. BBC wanted to film it, and we said fine. And this was Greg's idea. This is what we had. This is what we did. We rehearsed for 2.5 weeks. So we were in the rehearsal room.
Right.
So we rehearsed the play for 2.5, 3 weeks. Then went and filmed it. So we did all that before we'd even hit the theatre. We'd rehearsed it for 3 weeks. Then we were on location. The BBC then took over.
Jeez.
And we were on location now, up in, I think it was somewhere like Colindale. We filmed all of that on location. All the bits that you see, we filmed. Left the bits because the forum, things like the Friends of Romans Countrymen, we actually needed all the people, and you needed to be, you needed a load of people, and we had to be in a place that was going to fit the environment of the rest of the DVD, the filming. And so we left. He said some parts are going to be for stage. We're going to leave that on the stage, and then all of this will film what we can film on location. So things like the Friends Roman, all of that was a live performance.
Yeah.
So basically, I think that was our first preview or second preview. They filmed that for that performance.
So still,
so then
still incredibly raw.
So then we did that. We rehearsed for 3 weeks, went up and filmed for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then came back into the rehearsal room and finished rehearsals. Then went to Stratford.
Wow. So even
to preview and open the show. Yeah.
So even then, when you were filming it, and of course, which is the version we can see now,
we hadn't finished rehearsals. No.
It's still early days.
Yeah, we were 3 weeks in to rehearsing.
Talk about being thrown in the deep end, right?
Yeah, it was like, so basically it was like, learn it.
Yeah.
And get to a point for 3 weeks, and then we can film it.
Yeah.
Obviously, as I said, some of the theatre bits. I mean, even though I'd learned all those bits, we weren't going to do that until we got to the theatre, so it was fine. But all the other bits, yeah, we had to learn.
Mm. I mean, but then again, the performances of yourself and the whole cast. I mean, to think that was early days.
Yeah, it was
You
three
all were
weeks in.
fantastic. You were fantastic, all of you.
Yeah, that was 3 weeks into rehearsals. We
Wow.
then went off and filmed all of that,
I mean,
and
that's
then came back into the rehearsal room. It was weird. But it was an experience. It was weird doing it. You know what I
mm,
mean? Because I'd never. Do you know what I mean? But that's what he said. He said, "This is what we're going to try and do. We're going to do this. Then we'll come back in, finish rehearsing, and then we'll go up to Stratford, and we'll rehearse up there for a bit, and
yeah.
then start previews." And that's what we did.
Uh,
And it worked. It all sort of fell into to place. But we loved it. It was a fantastic journey,
mm,
And I don't even think, because these things is as you go along, that, you know what I mean. The West End then comes in and goes, "We want the play," and then New York or whoever it is go, "Well, we want the play," but it doesn't start off with the play going there.
mm,
So because of the success of the production, sort of got it rolling. You know what I mean? The West End producers then came up. Noel Coward came. The people who run Noel Coward, they then came in and
yeah.
decided, right, we're going to London. We're going to the West End. Um, yeah, but so all the other bits just gets attached to it as you go on. It's like, right, we're going to do a small little tour. Then we come into the West End, and then after the West End, where did we go? We then went to Moscow Arts Theatre.
Wow.
That was Stanislavski's theatre, like Chekhov, the proper Moscow Arts. That was an experience.
Yeah.
And then we were supposed to take a little break, or we were supposed to do Australia. We were supposed to do Australia, San Francisco. There was quite a few legs of the tour that we were going to do, and then Greg decided, you know what? Because we were in the theatre, which, you know what I mean, because we were in Stratford in the West End, so we were playing, and then he just went, "Look, you know what? Let's scrap that part of the tour, take a break
Mm.
over the Christmas period, and then come back, and then go to New York." So because then we had New York and Ohio to do.
Mm.
So that's what we did. We then did
Wow.
that. Went to New York and then took it to Ohio. So we had a break. So I remember I went and did a film in the break. Yeah, so we had like 3 weeks off. Yeah, it was about 3-4 weeks off.
Wow.
And
Extensive.
luckily for me, a film came along in that gap, did that movie, and then went and did that. And then whilst I was doing that in the States, you know what I mean, Kenneth Brennan asked me to come and do Macbeth with him. And so I was doing that, so I had to finish that and then come back to start Branagh's Macbeth that he had in Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was all, yeah. It was great, but it was a great tour. It was a great tour. It was,
Yeah. And of course, you yourself as Mark Antony, you've got some of the most well-known speeches. I mean, there's To Be or Not to Be,
Yeah.
there's the balcony scene in Romeo and Juliet, but you've got Friends, Romans, Countrymen, Lend Me
Yeah.
Your Ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. I mean,
Yeah.
and I watched the extras on the DVD, and for the cuts to an interview, I think you did at the time when you were filming, and I think I think you said in the interview, thinking, "Oh God, when I approach that speech, I've got so many thoughts going through my head. It's like, oh yeah, I heard that guy do it at drama school. I heard that guy do it over there. I've heard it so many times, but how do I make it sound like me? How do I put my own spin on this?" So how did you do it? How did you make this speech, this iconic speech, your own?
Well, I think the first thing to do is not say it's iconic. Because once you start going, oh my God, Laurence Olivier made this very. Do you know what I mean? Olivier is going to do Olivier's version. You can only do whatever it is that what your version is of it. I mean, Shakespeare really is such a great writer. He takes care of it, really. And we had an accent. You know what I mean? We had a Eastern African accent that we all sort of decided that that's what we were going to do. Because we just obviously the play was placed in Africa, but it was no specific place.
Yeah.
In Africa. It was just on a continent.
Yeah.
But then we decided that we're from the East. So it was more Kenyan. The accent was more, it was much more of a Kenyan, more leaning towards that accent, Kenya. Uganda, that leaning towards that part of Africa, and they had a certain way of how they speak, and we just found that the verse, do you know what I mean? The verse sounded had a clarity with that accent, and it was great. It was great, because it had a lilt, it had a bit of a rhythm to it as well, that accent. So it was great actually doing Shakespeare's verse to it, I found. And that added a different flavor, So one, you're doing it in an accent, and two, with that speech, you need a forum of people to talk to.
Bodies.
A lot of the times, if you go and see that play, you know what I mean? Mark Antony's talking to about 3 people.
Yeah.
Because how are they going to get like a group of people to come in like every night and for them to pay, 50 people? But what Greg did was he decided that he went and auditioned about 70 extras.
Wow.
That was going to be in certain parts of the play.
Yeah.
So the very beginning of it, when I think they were at an African market and stuff, and people are coming in and out, and that's the very beginning of the play before the play starts.
Yeah.
He did a sort of pre-show show, and all those people got involved in that part, and then they got involved in like the forum as well. So they made up. So basically, I had a lot of people feeding stuff back to me, like, you know what I mean? You're talking a lot of rubbish, whatever it is, because that's what you need to push against, which gives you the energy and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because you're playing against people.
Yeah.
So it was great that I had 60 people.
Yeah, and that helps as well.
Oh, absolutely. And also as well, when you're doing that, you're also playing to the audience, because the audience are the people. So basically, from where I'm standing, I'm looking at, even though these are the people that are standing here that are giving me the feedback, it's looking out. There's 1,000 people that I'm actually doing this speech to.
Yeah, that helps.
That I can see, that I'm playing to. So that helps quite a lot. But yeah, I think the first thing that you have to do when you're doing those kind of famous speeches is to take the iconic thing out of it and just look at the words and just see what Shakespeare and how you're going to play it within the context of the play. Because then you'll play it within the context and the uniform of the play, then actually going, right, I'm going to do to be or not to be now. So now I'm going to do some clever, do you know what I mean? It's got to be within the world of the play.
Yeah.
And within the context of the play. And then it just becomes a speech in the play.
Yeah. And it's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just basically this is what Mark Antony, it's what he's got to try and just do what Mark Antony wants to do. What is he trying to do with these people? How is he using manipulation, to manipulate the people? Because basically what he's trying to do is he's trying to get everybody on his side.
Yeah. And yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
He's got plans what he's going to do.
Yeah.
We said it he said it because you've seen him in the, in the speeches before, the slip the dogs of war. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
and I'm going to revenge this death, and I'm going to make sure that these people feel it.
Yeah, and I thought just very quickly, I want to mention that speech as well. And I saw it. We were talking before we came on. I saw it as part of a module I had to do at university at the time, and
Yeah,
we watched it. And a bit like what you said earlier as well. I was just coming to terms with Shakespeare. I'd read a passage, and I sort of like, oh yeah, that sounds nice, but I didn't really get it. My brain was still trying to
yeah,
work it out. And then suddenly, when you did that speech of pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers, and woe to the
yeah,
hand that shed this costly blood. And when the build you had to that, it was like this most beautiful crescendo, which you were getting more and more angry. And of course, you had to. And one thing about Mark Antony as well, because is that he has to keep a lid on this anger as well, because he shakes
yeah,
the hands of all the conspirators and says, "Yeah,
yeah,
no, everything you did, I have no qualms with, no qualms with at all.
exactly.
Do your thing." But underneath, he's absolutely furious, and
Oh, absolutely. And it
yeah,
comes out because all the shaking of hands happens before that speech, and he's got to look everyone because he looks everyone in the eye, doesn't he?
yeah,
Just yeah, double shake, but really in his head, he's planning.
mm,
Yes, you, right, you are here, and he makes sure that he sees everybody that has played a part in this murder.
mm,
And I suppose once they're gone, he can grieve. He can grieve and at the same time blow, where he wants to go with this.
yeah,
And it's the way how, because it's not really me, it's Shakespeare.
yeah,
Shakespeare
well,
builds the thing like he's building an army
yeah,
to go to war.
yeah,
And he builds it, the way he's written it, the verse that he's written. There's one full stop in the whole of that speech.
hmm. It's what one
So it
sense,
goes,
yeah,
yeah. So it literally goes on, and I think it's way after Slip the Dogs of War,
at this
and I
vile
think it's
detail,
something about alteration, full
yeah.
stop.
Here goes the
That's where the
carrier
full
men
stop,
groaning for burial,
full stop.
yeah, and it's like,
There's
and
nothing, yeah. So that speech just goes on,
yeah,
and it builds and it builds and it builds until it gets to where it is. And what Shakespeare does is he makes you feel that physically.
mm,
So when you're saying what you're saying and you're following whatever it is, you start to feel that way. The words and the words that you're using. So you start to feel angry. It just, he's written it like that for you to get in that state.
yeah,
That by the end of it, you're literally, you know what I mean? It's like you're disorientated with anger.
yeah. And the fact this
Um,
is one stream of consciousness as well. There is no stop.
exactly.
This is just it's him pouring out everything. And of course, you look at the way it's written as well. Shakespeare gives you how to do it as well. He's showing you how to do it. He's giving you the advice.
Absolutely. All
And
the
and I'll say this on record now. I mean, that when you did that speech, man, the "Let's Let the Dogs of War" speech, it was like my love for Shakespeare just catapulted in that moment. And the way you did it was absolutely brilliant. That was my favorite version of that speech today. And Friends, Romans, Countrymen, them your ears. And I just want to say, Ray, thank you for that, because that was outstanding what you did.
thanks. It's actually on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. And then they released it over the
The
pandemic.
French Romans Countrymen. I know loads of people because I know loads of people from the States have sort of said, "Man, I've watched your Mark Antony online,"
Hmm.
and I didn't know it was up there. But I think some of the RSCs put it up there,
Mm.
so people go there and watch it. But I mean, at the time, you just sort of you're kind of in it. And as I said, the good thing is Greg set up a great world for that play to work like that. It's a lot of the times it's always about the concept. What concept are you going to bring to put this play in, for it to work? And I suppose that's what it was by putting it in this African context. And I think some people started to say because who was it? Somebody, or because I don't read reviews, but I
No.
think I read something that people are going, "Oh, Mark Antony should have been a bit more calculating." And I'm thinking, look, this is not the Mark Antony that because he's in Africa, he's speaking to Africans.
Yeah.
There's a completely different, do you know what I mean? Their energy and, you know what I mean? There's the way how they get across to whatever it is that was the is a completely different way. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
the, oh, I'm going to calculate and stop and then, try and, you know, calculate my God, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, what I'm sort of, calculate what it is that I really want to do, even though I'm saying this and I
Yeah.
really want to do that.
Yeah.
He's not doing it in a, do you know what I mean? And I've seen the way some people slow down and, do you know what I mean? What, as an African, because I looked at that, you have to be so convincing because Africans would have seen so much rubbish over the years from people from different walks of other countries that have come into their country and talked a load of bullshit and come. So they've seen people come in all kinds of different shapes and sizes and ways. And do you know what I mean? And I thought the only way that you can get through to these people is to be emotional with them, is to cry with them,
Yeah.
and to let them see how you feel.
Yeah.
And that's why I did that speech in that way, because I thought you have to feel this. This ain't no calculated, do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to try and do that. It was like, I've got to make these people understand or see that I feel this. That's why the tears came and do you know what I mean? Because I wanted to feel it emotionally. I wanted that's how I think you've got to change these people's minds. Do you know what I mean? And that's what changed them. I thought that's what you've got to show, and and that was because I thought these African people, they've seen people come in all different shapes and sizes and dictators and the way our people have come and do you know what I mean, and the soft talk and this talk, and they've seen them come over the years, and they've been duped. You know what I mean? This is different.
Yeah, this is how it is.
Because he was trying to say to them, look, Caesar's my friend. He was your friend. And I had to get that across. That, do you know what I mean? I'm devastated and I'm seriously emotional about this. And I want you guys to join me in this. And I thought that was the only way that you could have got Africans to do that.
Yeah, and also this speech, and it's so many layers to it because he's talking to the crowd and he wants to get them on his side, like you said there. But
Yeah,
there's a repetition of the phrase, "For Brutus is an honorable man." But it's like,
exactly.
he is an honorable man. So yeah, he is honorable, but then it's the way Shakespeare writes it, and I suppose you've discovered this as well, that he's very slowly he gets them all on his side. So yeah, they are honorable men. Brutus, he is an honorable man, but then when the poor have cried, Caesar also cried with them. And I
Yeah.
presented him a kingly crown, which he denied. Yeah. And he
What
gets
we
them
have to
on his side. Yeah.
understand is there's Brutus supporters in there.
Yeah.
There's people, he's talking to people because remember, before him, Brutus goes in there and does a speech
Mm,
to the audience.
mm,
So Brutus he's talking to his followers. So basically, what Mark Antony wanted, because that was the thing that he asked. Let me please, I don't ask for anything, but just let me go up and talk to people with Caesar in. And
yeah.
that's it. But he didn't, do you know what I mean? The thing is, he brings Caesar, the dead Caesar,
Yeah. His
for them
corpse.
to see.
Yeah.
It's, but we have to remember all those people are Brutus followers. Most of them are Brutus, and he's got to get those people on his side.
Mm.
So
It's,
that's why that honorable, you know what I mean? He is an honorable man. I'm not going to speak against him because he's honorable. But blah 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 blah. But he's honorable. So do you know what I mean? There's this, but it's honorable, and and it's to get them to see one side that which is what Shakespeare's doing. There's this, but he's honorable. He's a wanker, but he says he's honorable, and we
yeah.
all know he's honorable.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's the physicalness of bringing Caesar's dead body
Yeah. That's when
and
it
then
changes.
pulling away the thing that you can see. He gets to them. He really does get to them, and it's through that.
Mm.
It's through the body, taking the body there, putting the body down, pulling it up, look, and then telling them about the stabs, who did this stab, and that stab, and this is how his knife went through him. you know, and he's there doing it with the dead Caesar there, with the stab wound still there. People, do you know what I mean? So you cannot but go, oh man, this is awful.
Mm.
But it's clever.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the love for, and people always say, what drives the scene? Because Mark Antony was, Caesar was his mentor, and
Caesar.
he loved him, you know.
Yeah, he loves Caesar. And I think also as well, what he couldn't believe that, do you know what I mean? It was like, he murdered him, man. We could have had we most probably could have had a conversation about this.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Can we talk about this first,
You
please?
went straight to murder people. So obviously, you know, it just, yeah, it puts everything on a completely different footing. That the fact that you've actually murdered him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and Brutus of all people, who was basic. I mean, he was, you know, I mean, even though Mark Antony was his right hand man, Brutus was close to Caesar.
mm. Was he his
You
son?
know, that was the thing. The thing was, you all knew him.
Yeah, you all knew him once.
You
Yeah,
all are senators, and you knew him, man.
yeah,
You
yeah,
and that's what you've had all along, was to kill.
mm.
You know,
Yeah,
so yeah, you know, but as I said, I think emotionally, and Shakespeare gives it to you. You've got to get emotional, you
yeah,
know, in within that speech, even though because you can get the emotions and just say the speech, because the speech does the work for you. You don't have to do any added on acting that I am a villain.
mm. You don't.
Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's all written in there. I mean, that's the great thing about Shakespeare. You don't have to add anything. It's there. It's there already. You
yeah,
know, and it just reveals itself if you're in it.
yeah,
You know, once you're in it, you just say the words, and be in it. It'll do everything for you. It'll get you to that state. As I said, the speeches are written in a way for you to be emotional. They're written in a way for you to get to. You know what I mean? They're written that way, and you just have to play it, and things happen.
mm.
In my experience, that's what's happened. It's it's fascinating, and you do have to work at it. But do you know what I mean? When it does happen, you go, wow. Might happen two, three, I don't know, 2, 3 times in a month where you hit it right. You go, wow.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
same might not happen again the next performance.
yeah. And
It might
almost,
happen next week and something else happens and you go, wow, this is. But you'll be in that ballpark. You know, I mean, the audience won't notice, but you notice it. And but it's just a great. It's a Shakespeare's writing, man. He's just
oh, he's a
proper genius.
he's a genius, and that's why his
Yeah.
plays are still being performed over 400 years later, and will
Oh,
continue to
absolutely.
be as
Oh,
well. You
absolutely.
know, and also,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think, and also, you know, they talk about the difference every night, and sometimes I've interviewed a few people who said some nights you do it great, and you're like yes, whereas some nights you go, oh well, never mind, we'll try again. So
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's just a feeling.
yeah,
You know, feelings, the way you feel about something sometimes, it's not how it's coming across. Because I used to do that, where I used to, you know, I'd be doing a performance of one of the plays. I used to do that with a fellow,
mm,
and sometimes, but the performances were just, I'd go, I don't know what I did in that, but I was in it.
mm.
And then there were other times that I'd go, God, was I in that? But people would come off and go, mate, that was a great performance. And I go, really? And I go, yeah. So it's what I'm saying is, it's just a feeling sometimes. It
Yeah,
ain't,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I mean? It's just how you, and you know, there's no better place than to understand that than filming. When you're filming something,
yeah,
and there was a typical example. I was doing a movie, and I did a take of a scene, just did it, and the director went, "Fantastic, let's move on." And I went, "Whoa, I didn't feel great."
yeah.
And he went, "Ray, it was a good take." And I said, "Yeah, but I wasn't feeling it." He said, "Well, all right, then have another one." So I did. He said, "I did two." And then he said, "You want one more?" I said, "Yeah, I think I'm ready for the next one."
Mm-hmm.
And I did the last one. I thought, it's the last one. And he said to me, "Go around, look at the monitor, and you tell me which one's the best one." And his was the best.
The first one.
Yeah. And I felt,
You're like,
I
hang on a
got it
minute.
on the fourth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, God, you don't know what the best one is.
No.
Just do it. Do you know what I mean? Because
I know, yeah.
and that's just I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you can feel, do you know what I mean? Whoa, I'm in it. Or sometimes you feel, man, that feels, a bit pushed. Or do you know what I mean? I didn't feel the emotions in that, and I it was a bit contrite. Sometimes you can feel those things. There's nothing wrong with that. But there were live performance is live performance. You can't go back.
Yeah, the show must go on.
So you just have to just continue, and that's the thing with theatre is it's in that moment. What's happening in that moment? And sometimes if it the good thing is that you have the whole play behind you, that you're going from start to finish. Whereas something like film, you're filming out of sequence, so you're kind of trying to get moments right, and trying to let them go, try and let them sort of match up. You're going, what was the scene before that I did 3 weeks ago that is now following this scene? How did I feel? Yeah. So you're having to keep up with the story and the plot and your through line of the story sort of over a longer period of time and out of sequence, because you're filming it by location as opposed to I'm starting here, going through, because that's the great thing about plays is you go with the story, and so you have the whole story behind you, and so you're feeling what you feel as you go, which is great. You get it. Everything is all in chronological order,
Nice.
And so you have that. But with plays and theatre, you can't come back. You just got to keep going.
Yeah.
So even though that might not have, you still got to go into the next scene and go, right, let me just go into the next scene without think, because you can't think too much about what had just done, what had just happened, even if it went wrong, or even, you just got to keep moving.
Yeah. And just you got to keep, as they say, the show must go on. Just keep moving forward always, and just
keep it moving.
Keep it moving, man. Keep it moving.
Because it ain't going to stop. It's not stopping. It's like a juggernaut. Particularly with Shakespeare, once it starts,
you're in it.
It's a thing we call the Shakespearean horse. You get on it, and you just ride it.
Exactly.
And the minute you think, "Oh, this is great," you're going to fall off.
Yeah. They switched on all the time.
"Oh, this is going really well." All of a sudden, a soliloquy just jumps in front of your face. You go, "Hang on, wait a minute. What am I doing? Where am I?" So it's supposed to just ride the waves and just go with it, and then talk about it afterwards when it finishes.
Yeah. And then it's just, and you also have that moment where you start a show and you think, okay, here we go, 2 hours, 45 minutes. Right. Okay. Let's lock in. And then suddenly you come back in the dressing room and it's like, you've just done the curtain call and you're like, it feels like we only started 5 minutes ago. It's like, how did we get here?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, sometimes just, it's a scene by scene thing. That's what happens really, because of, what I mean? You're feeling different in different scenes. And, sometimes just take it, it's just scene by scene, what's coming out. And you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. You know,
do you know what I mean? You don't know. Do you know what I mean? Someone might be sick in the car. You just don't know what's going to happen. Bloody lights might go out. Do you know what I mean? I remember one performance of a show. It wasn't Shakespeare, and it was down at Trafalgar Studios. Somebody had fainted in the audience, and the house lights had to go up, and me and an actor was on stage, and it was like we had stage management go with them, and I just had to just close my eyes and sit there whilst whatever was happening had to happen. And then the house lights went back down, and they said, "Right, boom," and then I gave it a few minutes, and then I just continued again. But they were asking for a doctor. Doctor came, lined them on their side, and I heard all this going on. I'm thinking, wow.
Jeez. Yeah.
But as I said, but you don't, you have no idea. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, you don't. You don't know what's going to happen.
that's what was happening in that moment, and that's that. You just have to stop and then, continue, and you know what I mean. It just, you don't know. It's that's the beauty about theatre. It's just in that moment that is happening. It's happening.
Mm.
That's why I like it. I like the danger of the live experience.
Yeah.
So as well, you have a live audience that you're playing to.
Yeah.
There and then. So they're feeling whatever it is that they're feeling in that moment too. Whether they're feeling anything. I remember a director called Michael Grandage. He used to say, there was a thing that he used to say. He said, always remember, you know what I mean, that Mr. and Mrs. Brown come to the theatre. Mr. Brown might be thinking something completely different because he doesn't want to be there, but Mrs. Brown might be. Do you know what I mean? It's just people, and that's just an example of people are going to be going through completely different experiences.
Oh yeah.
He might not want to be there because he thinks he's been, and she's in the show. It's you can't please everybody.
No, you can't.
It's different for different people. It's different folks for different strokes for different
folks. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but
but that's what you have to remember. People are having completely different experiences, and some people might like it, and some people might be there going, "Whoa!" There was another occasion I was doing Othello. A guy had come up to me in the Arden. I'd just finished a show. Went in there to get a Guinness, and guy comes up to me and goes, "Oh, yeah, really good performance, yeah, but I saw the one that Willard White had done, and I thought that one was better." And I thought, why did he come and tell me that? I don't want to hear it.
Idiot.
Do you know what I mean? And he was like, "Yeah, but it was." And then I said, "Well, look, your opinion is your opinion. People are going to feel completely different things." And in that moment, as I said that, a girl came in. Absolutely distraught, tears, everything.
Yeah.
Thank you for your performance. I really, and I looked at him and I said, "See, there you go." I said, "You feeling that, but she's feeling this."
Yeah.
Doesn't mean, you know what I mean? So what? What do you want me to do? I'm not Willard White. But he was trying to say, Trevor Nunn directed that and was in there playing. He was like, "Yeah, I think that one was better." And I was like, "I don't want to hear this." Fine, that's good for you. You know what I mean? Keep that to yourself. I've just finished in 3.5 hours.
Yeah. You tried doing that.
4 hours of theatre.
Yeah.
Now I just want to hear. Now you want to come and talk a lot of crap in my ears about.
Yeah.
Which fair enough. That's his opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was expecting me to, because I just said, "What do you want me to say?" That's what you feel. That's what you feel. It was great that girl just literally in the pub. She came in, honest to God, with tissues and just bawling her eyes out. I said to him, "There you go. It's a different experience."
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of theatre.
Indeed, yeah. Do you know, I remember we did our devised piece, part of our A-levels, we did devised pieces for drama, and we gave the audience like a little form to fill out. We gave some questions like, what did you get from it? What did you see here? Blah, blah, blah. I'd say about 90% of course, we were 18 at the time, we're just introducing ourselves to like improvised theatre and stuff, or devised theatre, I should say. And 90% of everything they said was, "Yeah, we've really got it, really engaged with this, love the symbolism here, blah, blah, blah." But then we got one thing which simply just said, "Didn't get it at all. No idea what was going on. Not a clue." Yeah. And we as a group just went, "Okay, well, fine, fair enough." But we knew what we were doing. We worked really hard on it. And and like you say, you worked really hard on Othello and doing Mark Antony and all that stuff. Learning the lines, turning up for rehearsals, doing all this stuff, and someone comes along and says, well, I've seen better. I said, "Okay, well, are you an actor? No. Have you done all this?" Yeah.
As I said, people, it honest to God, doesn't matter how they feel. They could love it, hate it, take it, fish fry it, do what you want. Do you know what I mean? It's not, as I said, it's you can't please everybody all the time, and I don't think people think. I don't think they mean to be malicious by saying, do you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, I saw this out of production, and I thought it was, do you know what I mean? Because I would never do that, but and I don't think a lot of people would. But some people think, I don't know what they're looking for, whether they're looking for a reaction, but you have to be prepared for all that stuff and don't let it touch you, because as you say, do you know what I mean? You've gone into a rehearsal room with a director and with a cast of people to rehearse a play and put it on, wherever it's set, you know what I mean, or wherever you're putting it on, and and to put it on a certain day, and to meet those commitments. And whatever people writes about it, or you know what I mean, is what they write about it. But that, you know what I mean, it's, you've decided that, you know what I mean, the director's come up with a concept and go, this is the way we're going to do it, and you've gone, right, okay, fair enough, this is how we're doing it, we're going to do it this way, and as I said, loads of people might love it. That's the thing about reviews. Some people come review it, and that's why I don't read reviews. I don't. Do you know what I mean? Because to be honest, I just don't see the purpose for them.
Yeah,
I
know what you mean.
don't see their purpose. People either, you know what I mean. People either let people make up their own minds about whatever it is that they're going to come and see. Do you know what I mean? And these days now, people do, because you have online forums. People go online and say, "Oh, I've saw this show. I've really had a great time doing this stuff." So you don't even need to have to rely on critics to tell you what's good and from what's not good, because it's their opinion too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Exactly.
And I don't like reading them. You know what I mean? Because as I said, they're not directors. They don't direct plays, and I'm. Do you know what I mean? I'm not taking direction from them.
No, not taking
So
direction from critics.
yeah, I'm not taking direction from them. And sometimes some of them speak like they are directors. Do you know what I mean? Now, what Oliver should have done. When he was playing this part, he should have done this. But thinking, what do you know about that? In a rehearsal room, come in and they're not doing it. They're not up there. But it's easy to sit down there and I mean, that's their job, to sit down there but if if you're not going to read the bad ones, then don't read the good ones. That's what I heard once in my career. Don't believe the good ones either. So I did. I just thought, great. That's
good.
A great analogy of it.
Yeah.
I won't read them. So I don't bother.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Even though they might have 5 stars, and they might, but years ago they didn't even have that star system. They just wrote a review.
Yeah.
They didn't come out with 2 stars.
Yes.
I'd give this 3 stars. They never had none of that. It was just, they wrote, you either got a good review or they said that it was rubbish. But you know what I mean? But there was no 2 stars, 1 star, 3 star. But hey ho, do you know what I mean? The thing is with those things is, you know what I mean? Even though you get those reviews, you still have to go and do the show tomorrow. You have to do the rest of the run whilst, do you know what I mean? Reviewers come in and say how good, bad, or indifferent it was. You know what I mean? And because they say whatever it is they say, it make you not want to go on the stage the next day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? God, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? So don't do it for their reasons.
Yeah, it's complicated.
So that's why I find, you know what I mean? I find their stuff more destructive to actors than they are good. So, do you know what I mean? I've stopped reading the bad and the good ones. They don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It just doesn't help at all, and you're proud of your work more than ever, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe it is good that an audience, maybe it's good for some people to read them and go, oh, this thing got good reviews, why don't we go and see? Because a lot of times things get good reviews, and that's what I'm saying, you have to find out for yourself. Things get the good reviews, and then you go and you go, what was this about? I thought this had great reviews. Do you know what I mean? I always think, do you know what I mean? Take it from, people who's gone and seen the show, who and has gone and seen the show and gone, yeah, because they might give you a much more, you know what I mean, rounded, you know what I mean? They might just go, yeah, you might find it a little bit, but it's good. You know what I mean? I enjoyed some of the performances on, And there's been loads of things that I like, and loads of people that don't like.
Mm. You go and see a show that has 5-star reviews, and you go to it and you walk out and think that was a load of shit. What the hell are
Yeah.
people
Oh,
talking
I
about?
just think was that what they call a 5-star review? Why?
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
so it's and is it right to go? It's not 5 stars because it's the theatre environment, and you want people to go because it's your industry. I want people to go to the theatre and see things.
Yeah, you want to keep
Yeah,
it alive. You want to keep it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I'd rather them go than not go.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. That's I suppose it's all part and parcel of it. They're gonna review shows, so
yeah.
you know.
That's what it's all about. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's good, man. Yeah, I just got a couple more things left for you, right? Then we can finish up. So, just before we get to the last questions, I've got to ask you this about just one last question about Julius Caesar. I mean, honestly, I could have you here all day talking about the play. Honestly, it's just brilliant. So, who is Mark Antony to you?
Who is Mark Antony to me? I'm supposed to answer that. Um, I mean, you can class. Is he a senator? No, he's not. He's not a senator in the play, is he?
Mm,
Um, I just saw him as he was a guy. He was a great athlete. You know, um, a kind of everyman's man. A bit of a hedonistic. A bit of a Lothario was always there with women, and that's where I think they don't take him seriously.
mm,
You know, um, that's how I saw it. Until when crunch time came, and it came for him to step into the breach or step into the fold and get real about things, he does. And I think that they underestimate who he is. But I think he's a shrewd. He's a shrewd operator.
mm.
And I think within that world of the play and within that world of Rome, I think you have to be. You had to be. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't like saying that. It's like dealing with American politics right now.
Mm.
You know? I mean, it's the Republic. It's the same. It's you got to be shrewd. You got to be clever, and within that world, I think he is, but I think they underestimate him in the beginning because they just, as I said, they just take him as a playboy. Which I think Shakespeare's written him that way. He's written that way for you to not take him seriously.
Mm.
As I said, he plays sports. He's partying. He's with women. He's a playboy. And then, but until it comes to crunch time, and then he takes the bull by his horns and he's gone. So you don't even know what Caesar has actually, what's the backstory between him and Caesar? What has Caesar told him? How has Caesar prepared him for things?
Mm.
If anything, did
Mm.
Caesar tell him, what I mean, watch these people?
Mm.
Was he warned earlier before? Because he
Yeah.
seems to know who they are. Who the crooked people are. So,
Mm.
you know, but am I answering the question? I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. Yeah, and also
you
it's
know,
interesting what you say there.
that's,
Yeah,
what I mean? Because otherwise you could, is it, what is he to me in modern times? I would say the same. He's, what I
yeah,
mean? I'm trying to find comparisons. So that's why I brought up the American, the Republic system, because they seem to be playing a lot of Julius Caesar in
I wonder
American
why.
politics right now. Oh, there's a hell of a lot of Caesarisms going on there.
Mm.
Um, and as I said, I think you have to be shrewd. You got to be shrewd the way you're playing politics and the way you're playing, you know what I mean? how you're dealing with the people, how you're playing you got to be very shrewd because it's vicious. And I think that that's the world that it's the same world that Mark Antony's in. And obviously he finds out who they are the minute he steps into that church and sees where Caesar is. And then you're in a different world. But he seems to calculate things very quickly.
He's a smart boy. He's a smart boy.
Yeah, he seems to have calculated things within that moment so fast that who is who, and even shaking the hands to make everybody feel I'm on your side. But actually, what he's doing, he's clocking. Do you know what I mean? Right. Let me just say, right, it's you. Do you know what I mean? Get my bearings right to know who it is that I'm going for when do you know what I mean? When you guys leave this room, I want to know who it is that I'm going to finish. Do you know what I mean? Look everybody in the eye, because, things are going to take a serious turn after this. And so he calculates all of that within the moment. And, and as you're saying, but Shakespeare gives him all of that. Shakespeare, the thing is that, look, I always find out when you're doing Shakespeare's plays, you don't have to do no research. You don't have to do research. You have to find out. I'm going to find out separately who these guys are. It's written right there for you in broad daylight for you to find out who they are. They're there, in the written text. That's who they are. So that's who he is. He is what you see written there in that play. You don't have to add anything. You don't have to add anything to it. Yes, you want to bring wherever it is that you want to bring to the part, but he's there written in full. And that's really what I go by. That's what it, I've always gone by that with Shakespeare's plays is I just go by what Shakespeare's written in that text. That's the character for me.
And yeah, more than anything, it's
what I can use, with my own, what I could use with my own life, with my modern, day-to-day life. Whatever it is that I could relate to make it a bit more, prevalent for me today to understand that I can convey that to, to today's audience, it is something else. But what's written there is what is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to add. There's, that's who Mark Antony is to me, is what Shakespeare's written.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And he had he probably had some very good sources to help him and all that stuff, but it goes to show like the depth of this play and everything in between, and like Mark Antony's just I really found that really fascinating what you said there about just like he's the secret training perhaps that Caesar, the mentorship that Caesar's given him. You don't see it, but it comes out later.
Absolutely. So he must have, there must have been, because he seems to have, he's put it into play quite quickly. So, do you know what I mean? Not that he thought that he would have murdered them. He most probably would have thought that they would have revolted or come with a revolution or something. But to murder him, like, do you know what I mean? In cold blood.
And not have a conversation about it beforehand. It's just
like that. Yeah. It's just, that's the shocking part of it is, do you know what I mean? And, but as I said, he seems to put things in play very, very quickly and very smartly, and thinks on his feet.
Yeah.
But I think he would have, in the play before, I think he would have had conversations, or Caesar would, because Caesar's very wary of Cassius, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's very wary of Cassius, and
he says, "Let me have men about me that are fat. Cassius is too thin. He has this."
Yeah, it's so. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? If you've got a right hand person with you, he would have said, "Watch, don't trust those people. Watch out for." He would have given him you know, an SP on who's who, you know. But obviously Caesar as well. I don't think Caesar realized that all those people would have been against him.
Mm. And that's what makes
As
the
I said, particularly Brutus,
yeah.
because that
Yeah.
you know, Brute at the end is a shock, isn't it? You know, it's like you too, Brutus.
Like you as well. And then he
Yeah,
goes, and then that's when the game's up. That's when he goes, then fall Caesar, and well, that's the game. When even your most trusted one, even more so than Mark Antony,
exactly. So it's
is with the
all people.
conspirators. Yeah.
So when I think in our production as well, he's, you know, when he's getting stabbed by them, he sees who's stabbing him,
Mm.
and he's shocked by most of them. Who, as I said, Cassius doing it. I don't think he was that shocked, because Cassius and Caesar was quite close, wasn't he?
Mm.
In times gone by, because it's Cassius's plan, really, in the beginning.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
yeah, our fault is what does he say? Our fault is not in our stars; it's in our minds, or something like that. What does he say?
yeah,
Yeah, and you're like, "Ugh, that's what you.
yeah. It's his. He's the one who starts the whole, you know, the whole ball rolling. And not to say that they weren't right to try and get rid of Caesar, because, you know, as far as I was concerned, they're living in a dictatorship.
Mm, we don't
You
want
know, and yeah, and he wanted to, yeah, he wants to sort it out. Do you know what I mean? Because that's how I used to, because we used to always have banter about it, me and Patterson, and you know what I mean. Like there were two camps, and they'd go, listen, the dictator, and I'd go, he's not a dictator,
that.
because do you know what I mean? As characters, when you're playing those characters, you got to believe who they are and believe that what they're doing is right. You know. And so I wouldn't join the thing where I'd go, yeah, he's a dictator. You know what I mean? Because as far as I'm concerned, with Mark Antony, he's
Yeah,
not that. So
no,
I'd go, no, yeah, no, he's not a dictator. Where is it that prove to me that he's a dictator? You know, because you're playing those characters, so you've got to play them for who they are. You know, it would be like, you know what I mean? You got to play them as human. It's like playing, I don't know, playing to say, for instance, if you're going to play Hitler, it's you have to see the human being,
yeah,
as opposed to, oh God, he's a monster. Yes, we know he's a monster, you know, but you playing him, you've got to start seeing the human of him,
mm,
you know, and why people like him, or why he was, you know, you just got to see the human parts of it. And
yeah,
I mean, it's horrible, but that's what you got to see. And you find
yeah,
out,
yeah,
actually, you know what I mean? They're people. They're just people
yeah,
like everybody else, you know, because then they become other. As I said, it's like speeches. The speeches become famous speeches, to be or not to be. Then it becomes something else. It's like, oh my God, how can I approach that? Because it's just too famous.
yeah,
But it's not. It's just a speech.
yeah,
And then you just look at what Shakespeare's written, take out who's played it, and just go, I'll just leave it in the context of the play and just play what's written, you know, and then something else will come, because your version then comes out, you know, and you go, oh, there's a my version of this.
yeah. And it's a
You
very good
know,
one. It's a
yeah,
brilliant one.
yeah, and
Yeah,
this is me playing the part, and it's my
yeah,
version. You know, and that's how you got to see it. Otherwise, you know, it will lock you up. You know, lock you up. Meaning, when you get there, you think you've got to bring some extra curriculum to it, some extra pepper to the, and it's not.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what kind of production you're in. Do you know what I mean? It might be in a production where they whisper it. I have no idea in what context it will come. You
no
know,
idea. Yeah,
you know. So it depends in what context the play's set, how it will affect how you're going to do that speech.
mm,
You know, as I said, you might find you feel something completely different when you get there, you go, whoa, actually, this is how I feel like. I feel like I want to do this within this context because this is what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
It might work, it might not, you know what I mean? But that's what you decide. You have to make a decision and do it the way you feel. But it's not something that you take as some separate thing. Oh, I've got this now, you know, and this is where we do this speech. Don't, because then it will look like something separate from the rest of the play.
Mm. Yeah, and ultimately,
or from separate from the rest of your production. Because it then looks like, oh, you're just doing this speech as a speech, as opposed to where it fits into that part of the play. It's just where it fits into that part of the play, and you move on, you know, to the next bit.
Yeah,
but you know, taken out of, you know what I mean, taken out and just doing it as a soliloquy on its own, it's different.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's part of it. It's part of the play. It's not a separate entity. It's part of the whole proceedings, and we got to treat it like it as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And as I said, the thing that makes them different is the fact that people take them out and do them as speeches. So if you do an audition speech, or you know what I mean, just want to do a speech, you know, of, you know what I mean, and you can do them and then just standalone speeches on their own that make it look like, wow, you know what I mean, to be honest. But when it's in the context of the play, it's just part of the play. Yeah, that we go, oh, there's that speech. Oh, it's gone. All right, that's where it fits in. It's part of the play.
Yeah, and you've got the whole audience in the palm of your hand.
Yeah. But everybody seems to get, you know what I mean? That's when you do, it's doing Macbeth and Hamlet, because they've got, everything is famous.
Yeah.
All of it.
The whole thing.
Yeah. It's just a dagger. I mean, the whole thing, you know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean, tomorrow. But within the context of the play, it just, you know what I mean, when you're playing it, it just sort of comes out like, right, this is the context of the play, and it works. But God, it's like when you do it, it's like, oh, this is that famous bit. Oh my God, this is
absolutely.
They just got on Macbeth. Nearly everyone.
It's so good, so good.
You know.
Yeah, fair is foul and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air. You're just like, what is this witchcraft? What is this?
Yeah, I mean, there's all of that stuff, and you know what I mean. You know, winter's done. You know, if it were done, winter's done. Do you know what I mean? All that. It's all. Because all I can remember doing, I was going, God Almighty, these were speeches that we used to do at drama school. Some speeches that we do, you know, and you know, but once you get within the context of play and the character, do you know what I mean? It then feeds different things. Because as I said, it's got to move on to the next bit. And then you're into the next scene. It's got to drive you into the next scene. And then you realize, oh, it's just a part of his journey in the play. You know, and then you don't see them as famous speeches. It's all of a sudden you go, God, this is what Shakespeare's written. It's just, you know, it's a whole play.
Yeah.
But brilliant stuff.
Really
fantastic stuff.
It really is. And Ray, I'll say again, thank you for your performance in Julius Caesar. Thank you for that.
It's a pleasure. It's you know, it's great that, you know, people still recognize it today.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I think it was a brilliant idea. It was a great idea to do, and I was only glad I was part of it. And I remember saying to the youngsters back then, you know, some of the younger members of the company, do you know what I mean? Because a lot of them, we're in the West End and, you know, to New York and stuff, and a lot of them took it really casual. And I said, look, an opportunity like this may never happen again. You know?
Enjoy it.
You know,
enjoy it.
Really try to enjoy this. Do you know what I mean? Some of them came to the Moscow art scene and was like, oh, I don't really like Moscow. I was like, brother, you may never come back to the Moscow art scene. I mean, there were the seats, they had plaques on them. I was in Stanislavski's dressing room.
Yeah.
With his name still on the dressing room. You know, plaques of stuff where Chekhov and Stanislavski used to sit
Mm.
when they were rehearsing.
What more could you ask for?
All the couple, within the same, and there was just something about the spirit. I mean, I felt different stuff in there when I was doing that show. It was something else. I mean, it was emotional for me. But the youngsters kind of thought, well, we're just in Moscow.
It's so much more than that.
I was like, brother, you may never. Do you mean when you're learning stuff at drama school, they're all using Utahard or Stanislavski, actor prepares and stuff. So you're using all that stuff. You're going, God, all the stuff that you've been learning. This is the guy. You're now in his face.
You're in the spot now, yeah.
Actors, most of modern actors, you know what I mean? All the, the studio. Do you know what I mean? All the studio stuff that they've all learned in New York and stuff all come out of Stanislavski. Do you know what I mean?
Learn it as source, man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Again, this is where it all.
This is where it happened. This is where it kicked off. This is where it originated. Yeah.
What was it? I remember. Who was it that said it? Helen Mirren was gone. She'd gone back to Moscow with the RSC, and she said she was in Stanislavski's dressing room, and she said she locked herself in there for about 3 hours.
Mm.
She said, I had this moment, and I just was like, oh my God. And I was in that same dressing room. I just went, mate, it was like sacred stuff. And I just felt different. I was in there. I felt different when I went on that stage. Something happened in that space for me. Something happened.
Yeah.
And as I said, quite a few of the youngsters didn't get it. And I was like, brother, this name may never happen again.
Yeah.
You may never come into the West End with an all-black cast. It may never happen for you. So really try and understand what it is what's happening here. Because, and I think most of that hasn't happened. But it was truly, it was just a great idea. Sometimes things click. And I've been at the RSC, I've been at the RSC well over 10 years. You know what I mean? I was an associate artist and then came back and did Ceasar. I think it was my first play back in 10 years.
Wow. 10 years.
Because the last thing I did was Adrian Noble was the artistic director then, and I did his last Shakespeare, which was Pericles.
Mm.
And then they asked me to come back, Michael, God rest his soul, he was such a good director, such a lovely man, Michael Boyd.
Mm.
And he'd asked me to come back and do Titus Andronicus and to play Fearon. And I was RSC'd out, man. I just said, I need a break. I need to go to some other theatres. And because I'd been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
I did 10 years straight, 9.5, 10 years solid. And I just thought, when I finished Pericles, I thought, when I finished Othello, I thought that was, I'm taking a break from this. And then they said, do you want to play Pericles? And I was like, oh my God. And then found out that actually Pericles is a great part, a great play. And I played Pericles and then I hadn't gone back for 10 years. And so it was my first playback, going and doing Mark Antony. So it was great to sort of reintroduce myself to the space again. And, the RSC's like, I grew up there. You know what I mean? It's, every time I go back and see shows and stuff, I just, have this really, Branagh feels the same. When I first went to the RSC, Branagh was playing Hamlet.
Mm.
I was a young actor. That was my first season, and Kenneth Branagh was playing Hamlet.
Yeah.
For Adrian Noble. And that's how that's how it works. And so and then I went off and my very first film was Branagh's Hamlet. He then gave me a small part in Hamlet in the movie.
Mm.
But
how it all works, man.
Yeah, but that's what the RSC and Shakespeare meant to kind of, just that surroundings and being in those theaters and over the years the company's changed but it was always good to to go back and And Greg Doran had been there since the first, because Greg was the one who offered me 2 times. He offered me 2 seasons, and I turned them down because I didn't like the parts that he was offering, and I said nah. And I said no. I was a young actor, and then I came, and the late Stephen Pimlock, oh God rest his soul as well, you know, offered me some good parts in there, and I came and did that season. But Greg was there as an associate director right the way through all of that. I mean, Greg had been there for a long time. So all my time I'd been there as an actor from the very start, right the way through the 10 years I took off, then came back. Greg was still there. Greg was there all of, I mean, it's like 25 years, 20, yeah, he'd been there for a long time. So, you know, it would have been a crime if he didn't become the artistic director. You know, but he became artistic director, and you know, so it was good. It was good to come back and do that. And as I said, I just wanted to do something different with Shakespeare. I just wanted to be in something different. I didn't want to go back there. I took so much time off. Didn't want to then go back and then go, oh, I'm just going to do. You know what I mean? I just thought I want to do something different, and it was that, you know. And I thought, wow, this is a great time to go back and do Julius Caesar like this.
Yeah.
You know, and it worked. As I said, it made sense. Audience loved it. You know, it really got a good showing. You know, people really loved it, and still people talk about it today.
Yeah, of course they do.
You know, so it was great. It was great, and people forget we went on a small little regional tour to, you know, Newcastle. We went to, do you know what I mean? Newcastle Theatre Royal, the one of the theatres in Manchester, which is the theatre, not the
or something,
not the Royal Exchange. Went to the other one. It's a big one.
The
we went. Yeah, I don't know if we went West Yorkshire Playhouse. We did a small little. We did quite a few. I think we did do West Yorkshire Playhouse.
Yeah,
I think we did. Yeah, we did Cardiff Theatre Royal. Yeah, I'd forgotten that we did a little regional rounds, and then went off to New York. We did that regional tour, then went into the West End. You know, it was either that way round. Went to West End and then did that, or you know, we then went to Moscow. Then went to West End and then we went into West End first. Then we did that regional tour. Then we went to Moscow. It was one of those.
Yeah,
they had to dangle a carrot somewhere for us to do the regional tour. Oh, you're going to go to Moscow after? Oh, all right, cool. But it wasn't long. It was like six weeks. It was like 6 venues. For a week in each, and then we went off to Moscow, and then we took a break, and then we went to New York. But it was great. It was fun times. I won a couple of awards as well. We won some awards in Manchester.
Yeah,
I won a Best Actor award there, and the company won Best Play, Best Production.
Congrats.
We won. Yeah, won two there. Yeah. Yeah, won a couple. Then won a couple with Kenneth Branagh's. You know, me and Branagh won a couple for Macbeth. Yeah, and then won another one for another play, Raisin in the Sun, which we did at Manchester Royal Exchange. But yeah, we won a few awards for the Shakespeare, which was great. You know. Yeah. But long may continue. I don't know when I'm going to be doing any more Shakespeare. You know, hopefully someone. Yeah, hopefully some will come along.
Of course,
that you want to do. Yeah, I mean, it just depends if you want to. Yeah, what comes along, what you want to do, really. You know what I mean? I've done most of the ones that I think I'd want to do, but you know, there's still loads. You know. But yeah, it depends. But yeah, I haven't been in the theatre for a while, but I should be going in to do this Fences play,
So
which will be
I look
that'll
forward
be
to
an
that.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll come and see
yeah,
it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, man. That'd be
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
I'll see you there. But
All right, man.
yeah, it's all good, man. I've just got two very, very quick questions left for you. It's the last two questions for every guest.
All right.
Quick fire. So, first of all, what would you say was a bit of advice you wish you heard when you were starting out?
Bit of advice. Um, See, there's another question that do you know what I mean? Because I think you hear great advice as you go along. Do you know what I mean? And I've been in my time, I've been quite a good listener. So I actually do take the advice. When I get it. Um, and if I haven't, then I haven't been listening to it. But but yeah, there wasn't. I can't think of any advice that that I was given that I didn't take that I wish I did.
Mm.
Um,
Well, like the best piece of
so
advice that's
I've
helped you.
worked with some great people, and when I was a young actor, I was taught by some great people who gave me good advice that I took. I took it. I took most of it. And then when I got into the theatre and I went to the RSC, loads of older actors gave me advice. I took them. You know what I mean? I took it all. I listened to them. And actually, I wanted them to speak. I asked them questions about things, and I took all their advice. But there isn't. I mean, my thing is always just go through just go through the experience. I mean, do you know what I mean? I never was late for productions. I never not turned up. I never wasted my time. I always went in and did the work. And so, as I said about the advice, um, don't stay up too late. That's the advice is always make sure that if you're going to, I mean, I don't drink now, but if you're going to go out and have a drink at night, always check that who you're surrounded by,
Mm.
who you're drinking with. Because I remember once I was drinking, I was playing Romeo at the time, and I was out drinking in Stratford with a few of them, and I remember about we had a mat day the next day, and at a certain point, I looked around and thought, "Hang on, all these guys die before the half. All the guys I was drinking with
Yeah,
died before the interval."
yeah.
And I thought, "Mate, I've got to do all the play. You must get out of here now." You know what I mean? Because they were there having a great time. Yeah, of course, stick around. And I thought, hang on, wait a minute.
Hang on a
I'm the
minute.
one that's going to be doing
I'm
the
the
second half
I'm
of
the
this
lead.
play whilst they're having a rest. Whilst they're resting So I cut that out. But yeah, I gave up drinking, so that kind of stuff doesn't affect me. But yeah, just I think advice I can give people is just always just make sure you stay healthy and get sleep.
Mm.
When you're playing, these parts and just stay healthy, sleep.
Mm.
You know,
Stay
yeah.
active.
Make sure you're in shape
Yeah.
because they will. I tell you, they will. They'll put you through your paces.
Yeah.
I've, you know, uh, it's like running a marathon. Do you know what I mean? The amount that you've got to speak and it's physical. Physically, it's demanding.
Mm.
Mentally as well, but physically. I mean, people think, you just say words. It's not. It's
It's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really demanding. So as I said, you've got to make sure that that's why I'm dreading. Do you know what I mean? It's just, not, I'm, looking at fences going, because I just know the work that has to go in
Mm.
before and the work whilst you're doing it.
Yeah.
You can't go out much. Do you know what I mean? You can't speak a lot during the day. You've got to prepare yourself every day from the time that you wake up. That play is on your mind from the time you wake up. I'm doing that play. You know what I mean? You go through lines or whatever it is during the day. You know what I mean? You've got to keep your voice. rested. It's a lot of work. But as I said about advice, there'll always be good advice that you'll get from people. Do you know what I mean? People will always give me good advice about what, and if you and ask questions, you know what I
Mm.
mean. And if you get good advice, take it.
Yeah, it's always good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. But I didn't, as I said, there wasn't anything that I'm trying to think. What do I wish that I did do
Well,
that
it's no
I'd
pressure,
done?
man. If you can't think of anything, don't worry.
Yeah, but I would say, do you know what I mean? Because I did like, you know what I mean, earlier on in my career, do you know what I mean? We used to go out a bit. There wasn't much to do in Stratford. There was no cinema, so we'd go out and have a good time and drink a bit. But then we'd get up in the morning and go to the gym, and so but then, as I said, after a while, once the demands got bigger, I started to do that less. Because I saw the older people that was doing that when I was a younger actor, not playing leads, and they were playing the leads. They didn't come to the pub; they'd go home. And I go, how come? And then realized, oh, this is why they go home.
Mm.
When I got there, it was like, this is why they went home. You need to go home as well. Because you're older. You know what I mean. You need to sleep.
Mm. Me too.
Um, yeah, you've got more demands on you than quite a few people if you are playing those bigger parts as well. And you know what I mean. And as a, it's be be grateful to your fellow actor. Be helpful to them as well. It's not great you come in all smashed up
Yeah.
you know,
They
and just
realize.
think, oh God, I was out yesterday night, and I mean, and that's all good. Don't get me wrong. Do you know what I mean? You can have a good time, but make sure that when you're in there working, that you're there. Remember, it's an ensemble,
Mm. That's it.
and it's a give and take, and that you're helping out your fellow actor for them to, you know, um, it's a give and receive thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's a company of actors that that you're in. It's you're helping everybody to get through the play, and that's your job.
That's it.
No one ain't doing any favors. It's your job. That's what you decided to do. That's what the job entails.
Mm.
You know.
That's it. Yeah.
What's the other question?
Yeah. And then the last thing today is what would you say, you probably asked this already actually, but what would you say has been an experience or experiences you've had in your career up to now that you'll never forget?
Just I would say doing all the plays, touring the world, um, touring the country.
Mm.
That's how I found out what England was. Do you know what I mean? I know this country like the back of my hand
Hmm.
because of touring plays. I've been to places north, south, east, west. Scotland. Ireland, Wales. You know what I mean? I know the British Isles through theatre.
Yeah.
And would I have done that otherwise? I have no idea. So I know I know my country like the back of my hand. Well, most of it. Um, it's beautiful. I would have never done that if I wasn't doing theatre. Um, as I said, the world, meeting different people, um, meeting, going and understanding different cultures in different countries. I did Shakespeare twice in Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to Japan with my first show when I left drama school, The Tempest, and then I went back with the RSC to play Romeo in the same theatre. But we went in about three different theatres. Then in Tokyo, Osaka, at Nagoya. Um, but yeah, just being in that part of the world as well and understanding a different culture and how they understand Shakespeare. You know, went to Colombia, Singapore. Yeah, worked in Colombia, which was about 2,500 miles above sea level. So we talk about the football when they were playing Moscow in the altitude. I knew what that was about because we had to have oxygen masks and everything because of altitude, trying to breathe, trying to get Shakespeare verse in one breath because you couldn't. because you've run out of air. But yeah, just, I mean, everything, all of it. I wouldn't have had the life that I'm living now. It's been an experience. All my children were all born, with me doing this, and having to sort of, work and earn for them. They've been there. My daughter was born whilst I was playing Romeo. To get to the hospital and get to doing a show that night. It's yeah, it's all of it's been an experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. And Stratford, I've always loved Shakespeare, and going to Stratford and being in Stratford for all that time, and just being, there's something you feel when you go to Stratford. You know what I mean? The lake and everything. You just there's a thing that you just feel when you're working there. It's beautiful, and it's beautiful countryside, and I love it. And I wouldn't have, if I hadn't done all that, I wouldn't have got acquainted with Shakespeare. I wouldn't have, I would say all my experiences, most of what I've learned in life has come from and understood has come from Shakespeare's plays.
Mm.
I've really understood a lot of my life and myself and the world through Shakespeare's plays.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
He captured the world
absolutely.
brilliantly. He did.
Yeah, I would have not. I wouldn't. I see now why people like Judi Dench and Ian McKellen and stuff really go on about what Shakespeare brings to the world. I tell you, I would have never looked at the world the way I have if I didn't know anything about Shakespeare.
Mm. Of course, we all quote it.
The way I can look at myself, look at other human beings. I've just got this broader perspective of people, the world, human behavior. What makes human beings tick. And humanity. Just looking at humanity. Shakespeare's given me all of that.
Mm.
Because what he can encapsulate in speeches and in a line. He's made me understand. I mean, look at that line. That line that Caesar speaks about the valiant.
The cowards die. That one.
Cowards die many times.
Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste death but once.
Look at that. I mean, how could you look at that and go, wow, that is...
It's genius.
A coward has to die many times in his lifetime. Whereas a valiant man, just when death comes and it comes to him, that's it. You know what I mean? Whereas other people face death on earth, they die many times. Failing at whatever it is, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just die a death, whilst living. That all encapsulated in one in a line.
I know.
Look at the world that he's just given you. That's the beauty that's a great thing about Shakespeare. But as I said, I would have never looked at the world the way I'm looking at it now without the help of that. It's amazing. And you're still learning more. Still go and see the plays and go, wow, I never heard that.
Yeah, you hear lines
when I
different.
saw that play the first time, or so it still comes at you. It just, it's amazing, and the Shakespeare experience has given me all of that. That's why I love him so much. That's why I'm so glad that I took the time to go. I want to act in Shakespeare's plays. I really, back then they used to turn around and go, oh, but people of color can't speak the verse, and I used to hear all of that. And people, my drama school teacher said, "Look, you can do this. And you do this very, very well." And so I just thought it's a lot of rubbish what they're speaking out there. But it was what I was getting back. It didn't matter what we was talking, whatever. It was what Shakespeare was giving me. I thought, man, what I'm getting from this. is something completely different. They could talk rubbish, but they don't get it. People who were talking don't get Shakespeare. So I heard her. I thought, they're not getting what I'm getting here.
No.
I'm getting fed something completely different, and I'm taking it. So, do you know what I mean? It wasn't their version. I started to get Shakespeare's version when I started to read it and understand it, and then I was taught by the best. I was taught by John Barton and Cicely Berry, and I watched some of the greatest actors. I watched them live on stage in the rehearsal rooms with them. I go, wow, I was getting it first hand, and the cream of it, and so as I said, what it was giving me, not just as an actor but as a human being, was bigger than what the rubbish that I was hearing. I was going, you don't get this. You really don't understand what this is. This is large. It's massive. So I started to stop paying attention to that and just focus on what it is that I was getting from it, and still to this very day, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I still get my feel, and I got my feel from it, and I listened to the right people.
Always.
I took advice from them, and I listened to, I heard the greats, the good people. I heard them speak about it and listened and thought, right, let me see where this thing's gonna go. And that's what it is. Because that's the only way you're going to find out about this stuff is if you try it. That's the great thing about Shakespeare. You have to be doing it. Can't sit there and study it and read. Go and do it. And then when it starts to come out your mouth and experiences start to happen, you start to feel things.
Yeah. You're like,
feeling stuff. What's going on? I'm alive. Different. You see it? Yeah. It's amazing stuff. It's gold dust.
It is. And long may it continue. Yeah,
absolutely,
indeed. Ray, man, Ray, thank you so much, man. Thank you for today. Honestly, it's been a joy talking to you, and I look forward to seeing you in Fences very, very soon. And thank you for your stories and your advice and your experience, sharing your experience on one of the best Shakespeare productions I have ever seen, and I will continue to say that. And thank you again for your Mark Antony was exceptional, mate.
Thank you.
And that's something you must be incredibly proud of, and I look forward to even more stuff that you do in the future, and I look forward to more talks with you in the future, be like this or in person one day, I hope. And just thank you for being so generous with your time today as well. That's honestly, it's very, very kind of you, man. Yeah, that's great. If you just hang on, I'll finish the recording. We'll have a tiny debrief, then we'll shoot back to life. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast. I'll be back very, very soon. And Ray, just thank you, sir. Thank you.
Pleasure.